Okay.
Good
Let's go back.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
What's going on, everyone? Happy Hump Day! Hump Day! Sorry. It's the middle of the week. You've made it. Now it's the downhill. So congratulations. And if you're in Australia or someplace like that, it's already Thursday, so it's a win-win. The only way it could get better is if today was Friday. So, welcome to the Child of Mecha live stream. My name is Tim, the one and only Child of Mecha, and we're going to do some cool stuff today. If you saw the kind of 30 minutes out image, I posted a picture of the box mag that I was showing you guys last night. That's finished. Real happy with that. And then also one half of the front vent that I glued up last night is also done. So we're going to show you how I managed to do that. We're going to replicate that on the other vent tonight. So we're going to show you some trimming of plastic and all that good stuff. But let's get a few points of business out of the way first. First of all, rocking the blue Destiny tonight. Man, I love that logo. This is probably one of my favorite logos that I designed. Just, man, perfect weight, mix of typefaces. I just love it. And then you got, wrong arm. Then you got the exam logo here on the sleeve, and that comes standard on these shirts. So if you're interested in maybe getting this shirt, you can hop over to childofmecha.com, hit up the store link up at the top. All sorts of different t-shirts. This shirt is in there. We got some bags. We've got some hats and cool stuff like that. So definitely check that out. As well, underneath in the description right now on YouTube and on Facebook, a little bit later on Twitch, you're going to see an Amazon link. That links to a page that I have curated for you guys, sourced out all sorts of tools and everything. Most of the tools that I will be using on stream all the time are in that link, so you know what I use and what are good products, basically. It's also got a section for books where you can pick up some inspirations and stuff like that. We're going to check out a good one tonight as well, and then we're going to jump into some modeling and all that good stuff too. So another point is make sure you're entering the Gunpla Talk fundraiser. Win this model. One lucky donor will win that perfect grade Astray red frame. No minimum, so donate what you want. It goes to a really good cause. We're collecting money for the National Alopecia Areata Foundation. A nasty autoimmune disease that affects many, many people. All races, both genders, everything, just straight across the board, young, old alike. It affects everybody. So basically you lose your hair, and that's not fun. That's not a fun thing to have happen. So definitely go and donate some cash to that if you are able to. If not, if you're not in that position, we'd really appreciate a share, maybe on your fan page, maybe on your favorite Gunpla Facebook group, maybe on your website or blog. Maybe make a video about it and post it to YouTube or Instagram or someplace like that. That would be great. So if you could share, that would mean the world to us. The more eyes we can get trained in on this fundraiser, the more money we can raise for a really great charity. And somebody, like I said, is going to win that model free of charge. So, chisel discipline, don't forget about that. That prototype shirt should be here, hopefully, by the Friday stream. So we'll see. We'll see. In addition, if you like this stream, if you get value from this stream, why don't you share it as well? Get it out there to the masses. Let other people see. Maybe your friends don't know what we're doing here. They should. But if not, share it to them and let them see the shenanigans that we do 3 times a week. But I digress. What we're going to do now is we're going to jump over to the 2 camera. Boom. And we're going to take a look at this nice book here. This is Elysium, The Art of the Film, and Neil Blomkamp film. I love his films. This film got kind of mixed reviews, right? Some people liked it, some people didn't. I really liked it. I digged it, dug it. I don't know what the proper English terminology is for that slang vernacular, but hey, we'll keep going. So this is a really cool book because it kind of goes in depth on almost all aspects of the conceptualization of the film. Obviously, right up front on the cover, you've got the exoskeleton that Matt Damon gets basically implanted with. Sorry for the spoilers. In his body. And just the mechanics on this alone, the rivets, the screws, the joints and pistons and everything, really, really cool stuff. And let's go through this here real quick. This is a big book, guys. I am zoomed out all the way, and this thing, I mean, it hardly fits on the damn screen right now. So this is actually a big, big book. This is definitely like a coffee table style book. This is something that you just throw down on the table and you let, guests or whatever, peruse through it at their leisure. So right here, here's the inside cover, and hopefully we can get that in frame properly because that is pretty damn cool. Just kind of a police mech with this crazy looking assault rifle. It's got the little drum mag going on here, and it's an angled drum mag too, and it kind of looks like it might connect to the grip there. So that's really kind of a cool detail. And just the mechanics and framing and everything here in the arms, just those little hints of detail are really, really cool. So let's flip through this, shall we? Hopefully we can get this. Jeez, this is a big ass book. So it starts off with mechs and stuff here that we really never saw in the film, which is really cool. From what the captions say, these are early concepts of Kruger's exosuit, which later became almost like a very close representation of almost like what Matt Damon's exosuit looks like, that exoskeleton and everything. But you've got a ton of different concepts down here at the bottom, and then these two are just really kind of kick-ass. You can definitely tell a Neil Blomkamp movie from other movies because the conceptualization, art direction, all that is very, very similar. And I totally dig it. Every single movie he's pretty much made, I just am totally down with. So you've got some forward information, you've got some testimonial type of interviews and stuff from the stars and things like that. Good reads. It's not something that would obviously make me buy the book, but as we get deeper into it, obviously, we get into, ship designs and things like that, which are pretty interesting. And then, you see the more fleshed out drop ships and things. And the one thing I really like about this book is the graphic design that went into the markings and things like that. You look at this, I think, is the design for the drop ship in the kind of the opening scenes where the refugees are, going to Elysium. You've got this little guy hanging on painted on the I guess that's a fuselage, maybe, I don't know, something, but he's drawn on there hanging for dear life, which is pretty damn funny. So yeah, just the graphic design on this is really, really cool. You've got on the opposite page here some other fleshed out kind of concepts for drop ships and things. So this is really pretty damn cool. And you got some more obviously in the subsequent pages. So here's a nice image, concept image of the mech. I guess maintenance or production line or what have you. Very cool mechanical designs and details and things in here with the rivets, the screws and mechanics and all that. Very cool detail that you can pick up. It's even got some really cool panel line designs. You can see the 3-line style, panel line here and some of the things here up in the top. Really cool stuff. Really, really cool stuff. And then you get into some other mech designs here. Flip back to this side. Some really cool helmet head designs and stuff here. Some more blocky concept of the robots and stuff. And then you've got some more fleshed out concepts and things. These are kind of interesting because this one is, the head on this is just kind of like almost like a gimbaled camera. Very weird. And then you've got this like muscular looking robot here, which is kind of weird and different from what ended up in the movie, obviously. And some other weird looking type things. You got obviously, a very similar Chappie reference in this. And then you've got this weird, I don't know, like biomechanical wolf looking guy here. I don't know what the hell that is. But really cool stuff in this book. So here's some head designs on this page. I know it's hard to see on the screen because this book is massive. And then it gets into some really cool stuff. So what I really like, especially about this page, is that it goes from this goes in layers. It builds in layers to the outer armor. So you've got the inner guts, and then you've got the main chassis base, filled out chassis, straight chassis, rib cage chassis, and then upper fairing, which is the armor and everything like that. And then different iterations of that same mechanical design and everything there. And then on this page, you've got different head designs for the police droids, which are really, really cool. You could definitely take an IBO frame and trick it out to look like one of these. People have done it before, so it's not necessarily a new thing, but it's definitely, all this is really, really cool. One of these Homeland defense robots here that we see protecting, some of the Elysium folks. Really pretty awesome concepts and things. And then I don't know if we ever saw this this kind of tracked mech thing here with, it's almost like a weird gun tank type of thing, right? So and then you kind of get into a little bit of the environments and some of the things on Earth, tattoo designs that show up on the actors and stuff. The surgery that goes into installing the exoskeleton and all that. And here's some concepts of the exosuit here, and then also concepts of what some of the folks in the future would look like with mechanics and all that good stuff. We've got more pictures of the exosuit there. Some wiring details and things on these pages, and some of them more up close. These look like even production models, because these actually are photographs here, so you can actually see the screws and the nuts and the bolts and kind of the pivot points and the pistons and all that went into this thing. So this is actually looks like a production model here, and then obviously some mock-ups on this side here on some actual humans. So really pretty damn cool stuff. And these look like production stills from set. You got obviously the vehicle designs and things like that are pretty wild, very post-apocalyptic, futuristic style things. You've got some of the shuttlecraft designs here that one rich guy was using, and then it gets into the weapons. The weapons in Elysium were really kind of interesting here, and like I said, the graphic design that went into this production is really top notch, because it kind of shows you the warning markings that show up on this kind of modified AK. So it's really, really interesting. And you can even see in some of the munitions here for for the weapons and things. Even just the graphic design that went into these color combinations and things like that, color breakup and all, is really very, very interesting looking. And then obviously different weapon designs here. You've got the the final weapon here, the Matt Damon uses, the chemrail rifle and things. You've got that in different colors, and then some different designs with some notes and things like that here as well. So really cool stuff here for the weapons. Got different pages of different weapon styles and things, and then you've got there's my favorite character, Kruger. He was absolutely the best with his rocket launcher, and you can see this obviously is a production still, but you can see the different warning markings on this particular weapon, and then even over here, it kind of goes into full detail about some of the warning markings, the graphic design, things of that nature for this particular weapon, which is really, really very interesting and useful for reference purposes, you know, when building custom weapons for your models and things. Excuse me. Then you got, you know, really cool design of a railgun here and things. On this page, you've got grenade designs, which are really cool. Again, the graphic design on these things, just the typesetting and everything, the little warning marks, just the color combinations and little, you know, pops of color are really cool as well. So very good stuff. The Raven, that's Kruger's spaceship, and the different designs of that. And then over here, you've got the different markings, the different versions of markings, you know, they conceptualize. So, you know, again, graphic design is very, very prominent on this particular book, and it's just stunning, really. You know, the environments and things, all of the markings and all, just super, super cool. And then obviously it gets into the Elysium environment itself. We'll just kind of thumb through this here just really quickly. You know, kind of reminds me of one of the colonies, you know, one of the sides in, you know, a Gundam, you know, series and things like that. You've got the Butler mechs here, concepts on that. Pretty interesting looking. And then this is what I really like, and this is kind of what I was, you know, referring to, you know, the graphic design. You've got different logos that it goes into, which are really, really neat. Different logos, just really for everything. And you could take and kind of, I guess, remix some of these logos and use it, you know, in a project if you really wanted to. You know, different again, different ship designs, environments and things here, different sets and all. So really kind of cool here. Let's just flip through the rest of this and get through this real quick, because the environments, they're pretty damned cool, but they're more interior designs, you know, interior set designs and things. So there's not a ton of great reference, you know, for making like dioramas and things. But here's another concept of the one of those drop ships, spaceships and stuff. And then this is one of Kruger's guys, and you can kind of see, you know, little tidbits of the, you know, exosuit. You know, not a full-on implanted exosuit like Matt Damon has, and you know, some really cool patch design here. So again, graphic design is very, very prominent. Again, here on this page, with this kind of body armor, super cool stuff. And this is one page that I really like, because this goes into Kruger's design here. You know, he got his backpack, part of his exosuit, or exoskeleton, whatever you want to call that. And then, you know, different stills of him, and it actually shows his sword on this page, which is pretty damn cool. You can see the up close, you know, it's got, it's almost like the blade is encased, because there are rivets in this upper rail for that sword, which is pretty awesome. And different production stills of him kind of getting into his exo frame, or again, whatever you want to call it. And then it just finishes up with different environments, you know, the final fight between Matt Damon and Kruger, and and that's the book. And there's the back cover. Again, just some of the designs from what we have seen. But man, you know, great book. Whether you like the movie or not, this book is awesome in terms of mechanical reference and weapons, but most importantly, you can pick up some really, really good inspiration in terms of graphic design from this book. That's why I like this particular book, is the graphic design element. Super creative stuff, very futuristic, very, very kind of remixable into Gundam style projects. So pick it up, Elysium. Check out the Amazon link below. It's in the book and inspiration section of that page, and I believe it's on Prime. So great book to pick up. So big one too. Look at this thing, bigger than my head, right? So just goes to show you the size of that book. So, all right. So before we jump into building and showing you what I have accomplished since last we saw each other, let's get caught up in the chat, because there's a lot of you talking and stuff like that. Let's switch over. Let's talk about, to Facebook first. Looks like David Breed is over there. He says, yo, what's up, David? Thank you for joining us, buddy. Good to see you. Let's scroll back up to the top here. Flesh Peeler 45 saw the picture of that rifle you posted on Instagram, and wow, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I'm really happy with it. I'll show you that, you know, kind of end product here in just a few moments. We'll go over that, and I'll show you kind of the details and everything. So Gamerbud says he got up early to top coat his high-grade Hakushiki rifle and to prime a few other pieces. He says, well, I grabbed the primer by mistake and primed the rifle instead of top coating it. So you primed over paint. That's too bad, man. You're gonna have to strip it and redo it. That's the sucky part. So it's not that bad. He says, spent a good part of the day painting it. After I finished it, I took it outside with the other pieces to top coat. When it was top coating the rifle, a nice gust of wind hit him and blew some of the spray back at him. Wow, that sucks. That's not a fun task. Man, paint indoors if you can, or in a kind of a protected from the wind style environment, you know. Let's see. Andrew Young's with us. Welcome, Andrew. Good to see you. Burkana is over there holding down the fort on Twitch. Thank you, B. Appreciate that. And he's also here, looks like, on YouTube. And I saw him on Facebook there, too. So he's triple, he's basically hat-tricking it. So good on you, B. Kurt Hill, hey there, Kurt. Good to see you. Thank you for watching. I don't know if you have to work today or not, but oh, looks like, look here. LOL had a week off, so managed to finally catch a live stream while working on a kit for a local competition. Awesome. Finally get to watch one live. That's cool, man. Well, interact with us, ask questions, whatever you need, man. We're here, right? But hey, thanks for finally tuning in and everything. Good to see you. He says, sure looks great. Like the sidearm logo in it as well. Thank you, man. Captain Weirdbeard's with us. Hello, Captain. Let's see, what else? Who else is here? Jay Lynch. Hello, sir. Thank you for watching. George Jackson is with us over on YouTube as well. He says that was the one that picked him up out of the room where he got the rad bath. I don't know. You lost me there, George. I'm not sure. Maybe I was talking about. Oh, you know what? I was probably talking about the book, and that's probably when you commented. So, fair enough. Fair enough. Let's see. Phonerino is over there on Twitch. He gave a little emoji type of hello to us. Thanks for watching. Maverick is with us. What's up, Mikkel? Good to see you. Kyle as well. Kyle, thank you for watching. Let's see. Mikkel says, that book is hella nice. Dude, it is hella nice. I really like that book. That book is a good one. It is a good one. All right. Bro Builder, what's going on? Checking in from his workbench. Bro Builder, thank you for watching, brother. Appreciate it. All right, so now that we're all caught up, we're going to jump over here and I am going to show you what we have accomplished, like I said, since last night. So let's get you zoomed right in, nice and tight, and boom. Let's get that framed up here for you. Look at that. We're going to get you zoomed out just a hair so you guys can see the full-on visage of that rifle. So I am really quite happy with how this turned out. You know, the foregrip, that was kind of done ahead of time. I might still go in there and maybe put in you know, I don't know, maybe some strips to aid in gripping that foregrip, or maybe just some detail bits. I don't know, maybe some scribes. I don't know yet. But still super happy with at least just the form that came out of this thing. And then obviously the main part that I think everybody wants to see is the box mag. That is finished. I finished that up a little bit earlier today. And it looks really, really cool. So let's pull this off. Let's kind of go through this here real quick and get you zoomed in so you can kind of see the details on this. And let's go to super zoom so you guys can see all the nice little details and stuff. Sheboygan. There we go. So let's go through this. All right, so here's kind of the front side, and as you can see, I you know, this was flat yesterday, and what I did, get my little, where's my little pointer here? There it is. And what I did was I took a 1/4 millimeter by 1 millimeter strip and just basically rimmed there we go. Just basically bordered the outside of it to make a kind of a raised border, so this inside panel would look recessed, and then just kind of flushed that, even that out with all of the surrounding surfaces. So I really, really like this. I had thought maybe to put a strip of plastic here or here, but then once I thought about it a little bit more, I just figured to leave that nice and blank, leave it just wide open. That way I can put some nice decals on it or something like that, make it look really kind of, you know, realistic, militaristic, all that good stuff. Put just a little plate of, you know, just some little styrene plate detail at the bottom here. Beveled this, did an outside scribe border around that shape, so it looks a little bit separated. So that looks, you know, quite nice there. You're probably never going to see it, but I like it. And then I just did some simple box scribes on this kind of angled surface that wraps down onto the side, and then just kind of did the same thing on this other side here. Just a simple box joint with an offset floating notch right up here at the top, which is centered along the connection point to the rifle. And obviously I used the existing one of the existing magazines, and I just kind of wrapped everything around that. There's still a little bit of cleanup work, but you know, overall this thing is pretty much done. The beauty part about using the existing magazine is that the connection, I didn't have to modify that in any way, shape, or form, which is quite nice, because now I can just pop that in there and it just looks legit, right? Look at that. Everything matches up. It's nice and even, and you know, this this surface right here and this surface are just dead even. So once this is painted, man, this will be kind of seamless. There will be a nice kind of like a nice separation line around the magazine, but I think that will just kind of play into the realism and look really quite nice. So yeah, I am super, super happy with how that came out, and that will add quite a lot to the aesthetics of the Jesta, to make it look a little bit more badass, a little bit kind of ready to rumble sort of feel. So really quite happy with that. Really quite happy with that. All right, so the second thing I want to show you, and we're going to get into some work on this here, is the front vent, the chest vent that we plated up yesterday. Now, if you remember, we just glued this to a piece of styrene just like this, right? Simple, just easy work. But we're going to end up with something like that. And let's get, since this is a small piece, we're going to get super zoom action going on here. Boom, there we go. And let's get that centered up on frame there. There you go. So really easy. What I did was just shave the plastic down to meet the contour of the existing piece. And once that happened, just basically filed, sanded, all that stuff smooth, so you will never tell that this is just an added piece of styrene to this. After that, just a nice simple panel line right across the middle, and just a little notch there to give it a little bit more character. Let's see if we can maybe catch that. There you go. Just on the shadow there, you can see that that notch there. So once this is painted and panel line and everything, all that stuff will pop out. It'll look really pretty nice. And as you can see, all these surfaces just match just kind of perfectly. Just super clean. And I'm going to show you how to do this tonight. So really, actually quite easy stuff. Just a little bit of kind of, you just have to be careful with it. That's all. All right, so let's get you out of super zoom. Go back to 1x, get rid of the box, swing back over to the stream, and there we go. All right, so let's get caught up a little bit in the chat because I know there were some questions. Andrew Young, I'm just sad. My compressor broke and I had to pay $30 shipping plus tax to make it come in Friday. That sucks, dude. That sucks. Sean Kinney is over there on YouTube. He says, how do you get such uniform bevels? Well, that's a good question, and I'm going to show you here just momentarily, so stay tuned, and you can see the entire process that I went into to get these nice, clean bevels and everything. Looks like Adam Ryan over there, owner of USA Gundam Store. He's over there on Twitch. He says, looking good, Tim. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Bro Builder says, I approve of this methodology. Thank you, sir. He also continues to say, to reply to Sean Kinney, there are several ways to get uniform bevels. Sorry. He has a bevel multi-tool by Voyager that works quite well, but practice always makes perfect. Yes, you can use a tool. I freehand, honestly. It's usually the way that I'm most comfortable with, and I'll show you kind of how to do that here momentarily. So, all right, let's jump in. So we're going to put the finished piece off to the side. We are going to work with this, but as always, before we do, we need to put our eyes on. So let's get those strapped in, and let's get to work. First thing is first, we've got all this extra plastic around the border here. We need to get rid of that first. So we're going to need our Tamiya, there we go, Tamiya nippers to do that. So we're just going to trim this off. And you don't want to trim it too close. You just want to kind of get in the ballpark and get it somewhat close. You trim the edges, trim the corners. Just get that scrap plastic off of there as much as you can. But like I said, you need to be careful because you don't want to take off too much, because it's easy to take off too much, but it's very hard to put it back on. So we're just going to pop these pieces off here, get a nice kind of roughed shape real quick. And what I'm doing is I'm setting the blade of the nippers on the edge itself, right? And I'm letting the part guide the nippers. So we're going to have nice straight lines and cuts to this. Now, there you can see already it's starting to take shape, right? So what we're going to do now is we're going to start trimming the rest of this gunk back from this particular piece. So what I like to do is kind of start with these corner bevels first, and just kind of really easily just slice those down. You don't want to go too far, because what you want to do is you want to leave a little bit of room, you still want to leave a little bit of plastic here on the corner to marry up, the other sides that we're going to do. So let's start with this top kind of straight piece. Now, this is an NT cutter knife. It's small, it's detailed, and so this is perfect, the perfect tool for this particular step here. So what we're going to do is we're going to rest our blade right on this bevel right here, this surface, not the white, but we're going to rest it right on the blue part, and that's going to act as a guide for our blade here. And we're just going to push at kind of a diagonal, almost like with a slicing up style technique. And we're just going to go slow, and we're going to let that blade ride the surface of that blue part, and it may not, match it up the first pass. And that's actually good, because we want to take, a lot of that material off here. And this is definitely not matched up yet. But the less we have to take off, the harder we have to push on this blade. And the less hard. We don't have to push on that blade as much. English is hard, y'all. No, but the thing is that the harder that you push on a blade, the higher chance there is of slipping. And if you slip, you could obviously hurt yourself, but even worse than that, you could damage the part too. So we're going to kind of take it off and just nibble it down in passes, right? And we're just going to basically get it down to really, really thin shavings. And we just want to use the same style technique, just kind of pushing and moving it kind of in a diagonal up on the piece. So that right there, I can tell, is even. This side is nice right now, but I know right here could use a little bit more trimming. And I don't know if you can even see the small shavings that we're getting off of this thing, but it's like hardly nothing, right? And chances are this will be almost perfect once we're done with this particular step. But we're going to go back here in a little bit once we've got these cleaned up, and we're going to make 100% sure that these are dead even. So you'll never be able to tell that there's an extra piece of plastic on this. So I can tell just from the fingernail test that this is still not perfectly even. So we're just going to angle down just a little bit more on our blade. And this is where the precision comes into play, guys, because you need to be super precise with this, and you need to have really, really good technique with the knife. You want to go super slow, especially at the corners, because the corners have a tendency, if you're not careful, to blow out. And basically what that means is it'll take off more material than you intended, and it could potentially damage the other side that you're trying to get down to. All right. Fingernail test is looking pretty good. There's no catching, maybe right there. So let's just give a nice little pass right here. We're just getting just a little shaving off of there. Nothing crazy. That looks good for right now. We'll come back. We'll come back and clean that up here. Get this little corner bevel cut here. Okay. And the one thing that I find on these corner bevels is that if you shave off just a hair of the original part and take that into the piece, you're going to get a perfectly married up seam right there. And it's just going to look really, really nice. So we're just going to do the same thing all the way around the part here, and just, good technique. That's the name of this game. Patience, obviously, and attention to detail. This is not necessarily a hard procedure, but it's definitely one that you need to take your time on and you need to be careful with. It's one of those things where it's kind of like a measure twice, cut once type of frame of mind. So this is getting really nice and even so far. And that's really quite nice right there. Just a little overhang right there in the middle. We're good. All right. Do the same thing to this corner bevel. Now, when you're using a blade that's very sharp, like this blade is, and when you're cutting into a piece this small, obviously your fingers are going to get in the way. When you are cutting, the most important thing is to make sure that your thumb or your fingers are not in the way of that blade. So what I suggest here, like right here, if I was to slip, I would cut my thumb, right? To start off with, super controlled, very slow, and then at the end, once you reach that this end part, move your thumb out of the way, move your finger out of the way. That will avoid injury. Because cutting yourself, especially on the tip of your finger like that, or potentially even getting it underneath of your fingernail, that's not fun. That's painful. That's very painful. Okay. As you can see here, guys, obviously going super slow with this. That's really the name of the game. Take your time. This is not a race in trimming these parts. Actually, we can take a little bit more off of there with the nippers. Just a little bit too much material there. Okay. And for something like this, concentration is key. So you want to try and avoid, obviously, distractions, and anything that might surprise you or jar you or anything like that. So pets, kids, things of that nature, just keep them out of the room best you can. I know that's difficult in a lot of situations, but just do your best when you're doing something as detailed and as potentially dangerous, obviously, as this. Because, like I said, there is a chance of injury whenever you're dealing with a hobby blade or a knife or what have you, or some other tool. So you do want to avoid surprises, or else the blade might surprise you, and that's never fun. Okay. All right, just a couple more surfaces here to go, and we'll move on to the next step with this thing. once we get this trimmed down, we'll catch up with the chat, because I know you guys are kind of talking back and forth, asking questions and stuff like that. So I'll get caught up here in just a minute, guys. So any questions will be answered momentarily. So I don't know if you guys had noticed that, but cutting. My thumb is right here in the way of the blade, right? So I got up to almost the end, and then just move your thumb down, just out of the way of the blade. A little bit harder to grip the piece, but at least you won't cut the tip of your thumb off. Okay. Okay, nice clean shavings here, and then the last corner, the one that we started with, we just left a little bit of material on there, just to be on the safe side. Okay. All right. So there we go. Took a while, right? So, but look at that. Nicely trimmed. Even looks really quite good for right now. Still a little bit of cleanup that we need to do. We need to go around all of these edges with a nice flat file, get these nice and cleaned up and everything, get them nice and even. That way it will look like it's one part. And that's what we're going to do next. So, but first, before we do that, let's get caught up in the chat, shall we? Let's see here. Let's scroll up. Man, a lot of you guys talking back and forth. Let's see here. All right. Everybody's saying hi to Adam in the on Twitch, it looks like. Good stuff there. Nice. Andrew Young, not a problem cutting yourself. Yes, it is a problem, dude. Bailey says, all right, everybody, I'm here. I'm sorry I'm late. Well, damn it, Bailey, why the hell are you late? No excuses. No excuses. It's all good, man. Family stuff plus prepping to teach. Yeah, he's got classes, you guys. Like, real legit classes, so that's pretty awesome. Let's see. Bro Builder, another downside of pushing too hard is hemorrhoids. Good. That's good, yeah. I should have read that before I read that out loud. Good stuff. Bailey, hemorrhoids and blowout. Seems I haven't missed much. Yeah, not with this crowd, dude. Not with this crowd. Oh, my. And let's keep going on here. Andrew's just making some bad jokes, it seems. Ah, look at that. Lowback Go. Thank you for the follow on Twitch. Appreciate that. Welcome to the family, by the way. Thank you for watching. Let's see. Cutting yourself is bad, okay? Good one, Bailey. Maverick McKell says, I usually sand it down instead after using the nippers. That's one way. The issue I have with that, and that might be just my own technique, is that sanding, you can't really see the surface while you're doing, the actual act of sanding. So for me, I need to be cognizant of making sure that surface is smooth and making sure that sanding block is not at a wrong angle. Because even at maybe a slight angle, it's going to alter the look, and it's going to alter the angle and bevel of that particular piece. And then the other side, part that plays into it is if that sanding block if you're not applying super even pressure on that sanding block, one side may start to sand more than the other side. So by doing kind of the trimming technique with the hobby blade, I can, like I said, make the blade ride along the surface of the original piece to match that. And that way, obviously, I can see what I'm doing more, have more control over it, and apply the pressure in real time that I might need. It's not a reactive type of technique like sanding is, because you never know what it looks like until you pull that sandpaper or sanding block away. So you kind of react to that. So this is definitely more proactive action. So that's why I do it. Now, mind you, again, my own personal preference, you know, sanding it away and evening it up like that, you know, could work, you know, easily for you. But again, it's all personal preference. Man, Andrew's just got full of dumb jokes tonight. Ay, ay, ay. Jay Lynch, wish I had a room. 3 cats don't help much to build gunplay. Yeah, dude. I can definitely understand that. Being a cat owner myself, I know how they are. Bailey says, I was wondering if you were planning to hit it with a flat file. That would be my method. Have you already talked about what you're doing on the surface of the vent yet? Actually, we did. Yeah. So, Bailey, this one is just for you, buddy. Here's the other finished piece that I finished earlier today and a little bit after the stream. So we've got one side done, and I'm basically just replicating it. So just kind of going through the steps of what I did to achieve that. We're going to hit it with the flat file here momentarily. But yeah, definitely that's going to be part of the procedure. All right. Bro Builder says, lowbrow is the new highbrow. Yeah, you got that right, man. Gamer Bud, to start snapping together a kit tonight or not? I got 7 kits I can start, but also want them to last because I won't be getting any more kits for a while. Yeah, man, pace yourself. Pace yourself, dude. The better that you pace yourself, the more that you can enjoy it. Food for thought, right? So, all right. So, with that being said, let's get back to this. Let's get the eyes back on here. And like Bailey had mentioned just a few seconds ago, we're going to hit this thing with a flat file just very lightly, just to make sure that the surfaces are 100% smooth. Now, the eternal problem here on my desk is to find the file that I need. And this is the one. Cool. All right, so this is actually just, you know, a little jeweler's file. And this is the half round. So flat on one side, rounded on the other. I like this one over just the normal straight file when doing this particular procedure, simply because it kind of gives me a little bit more dexterity, and it shows me kind of where that surface is, where that sanding action is, and all that, all the filing and everything. Let's get this cleaned out here real quick. A nice old toothbrush. And what we're going to do is we're just going to rest that right up against that bevel that we trimmed before, right? And we're just going to give it just kind of a nice even filing. Nothing crazy, because these are already matched up really, really good. This is going to reveal any inconsistencies or differences in things. And what I think I might do is, let's see, I think this one's got a little bit more tooth in it. So let's switch to this one. Same profile, still half round. This just has a little bit more bite to it. So we're just going to use this one first, just to even out these surfaces. And yeah, that looks really good so far. What this is also going to do, this is going to straighten out any waves that you might have caused by you know, trimming this back freehand with the knife. And we're just going to do this to all surfaces really, really lightly. Even these corner bevels here, which are a little bit more on the difficult side, just because there's not a lot of surface area to them. But those are shaping up super nice. And again, the thing with this is that there's two surfaces. There's an angled surface here, and then it bevels down. The one thing you got to be really, really careful of when you're filing like this is you don't want the file to shift or round over that that corner. You want that corner to stay sharp. So you do want to kind of apply pressure away from that corner, so it basically to prevent it from migrating up to that angle and potentially rounding it over. All right, that looks really nice, really smooth looking. No differences in light or anything like that. There's a little bit, and you guys probably can't see this on screen, but there are a little differences in surface texture, and that shows indents or places where it's lower and basically has not been sanded or treated yet. So you want to file this down to where the entire surface has the same looking texture. And I think we just achieved that. Yeah, cool. And to see that, basically, you're going to just kind of move this in the light, and you'll start to see the surface texture, because the unsanded surface obviously has a little bit more gloss to it. It reflects the light a little bit better. Let me see if I can. You see that here? See, as I twist that in the light, you can see the reflection of the light on the one surface. But since this surface is sanded and dull now, it's not as reflective as that other angled surface there. So that's an easy way to see if you're in the right ballpark in terms of filing this down. So let's get this little surface right here. We're going to start to wrap this guy up. Yeah, it looks really, really good. Nice and even. All these surfaces are just dead flat, which I really, really like. All right. With this particular procedure, one of the most important things is a very steady hand. You want to keep your kind of gripping hand as still as possible. So I have it set and just resting right on the surface of my workbench. And then all I'm doing is I'm just kind of moving the file with my other hand. I'm hardly moving my arm. I'm just kind of moving my hand back and forth. And that will create the best possible scenario in this most steady, type of environment for sanding. So we're going to get this little bevel here, and this is going to be tricky because it's at such an angle that it makes it a little bit weird. Okay, good there. All right, last surface to even up here. Okay, this is a tricky one here because it's at a steeper angle than the other surfaces here. So we've got to hold it, obviously, with a different grip at a different angle. And then we've got to be super careful when filing here and keep that nice and flat and even, because there's not a lot of surface area to it either. Okay, that looks good. One last corner bevel here to clean up. This was easy. Nice and even. Looks good. All right, let's get super zoomed into this thing so you can see the fruit of our labor so far. Zoomed in on that. Get the plastic shavings out of the way here. And there we go. Now you can kind of see. Let me get my tweezers here, get my big fat fingers up. All right. So there you can see kind of how even those surfaces have turned out. Nice and filed, flat, smooth, the whole nine. Those corner bevels right here, just dead flat. Just all that. So really happy with that so far. That's the end product that we want to try and achieve. So let's get a super zoom. Now we're going to add just the final details to this thing. And, oh, look at that. Never Troll. Thank you for the 5 bits. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. All right. Yeah, Never Troll says, I can't even assemble them. Man, practice, dude. Practice. You practice, you know, hard enough, and you'll get it. Keep watching the stream. You'll learn, hopefully, a bunch. And, man, you get better at it. So keep at it, brother. All right. So now what I like to do, just to finish out, is to just kind of scrape this down and really finish the surface just nice and smooth and flat. Some people will sand. That's cool. But I like scraping with a hobby knife because that's going to get just a super, super dead even flatness to the piece, which is, you know, comparable to sanding it down through multi-level stages of grit and all that. But this is, for me, just so much quicker. Now, the inherent danger of doing this is obviously potentially cutting into the piece, scraping it at the wrong angle, you know, some other things. So again, this particular procedure, I should say, takes a lot of patience, good dexterity, and proper technique. And also just a sharp as hell blade. You don't want blades with any sort of nicks or notches in it or anything like that, or else it'll just mar the surface to no end. And then you'll be right back to sanding it, and it'll be that much harder. So this more or less is a finishing technique for the surface more than anything. Okay. On the surface right here. Okay, so that, these bevels and everything, this plastic is nicely trimmed to fit the piece, and the surfaces are prepped, nice and clean, perfect. So we're in good shape there. Now, what I've done with this is on the other piece here, obviously there's this nice kind of straight panel line across, you know, the middle there, right? So to achieve that, what I did was I just pulled out one of my kind of old scribing jigs that I just kind of had in the box. I've used this on, you know, projects before, so we're just going to kind of reuse this. We're just going to set this right at the top of this, and this comes down about 3 millimeters. And what I found is it comes down right to the kind of center of this particular piece, and gives it a really, really nice look. So we're just going to hold that there. Going to grab our 0.15 scriber that we use for all panel lines, and we're just going to get focused first, and then we're just going to run a panel line. We're just going to pull one right across the middle here. So that starts the kind of vent, I guess half of the front vent. I don't know what you want to call it. So that starts the process of detailing this particular piece off. And, you know, obviously there's not a lot of detail to this thing. It's just a panel line with a notch in the middle. But what we need to do is we need to wrap the panel line around the piece so, you know, it looks logical in a mechanical sense. So what I've done is just taken the T-square here, and since these sides are not going to be seen too much, I'm not completely worried about having insane accuracy in terms of this particular panel line going off the side here. So what I've done is just holding this little piece up against this T-square is a real pain in the ass, but it's probably better than laying down Dymo and all that. So we just need to marry these, marry these up, get it held in the right way, and then we'll be good to go. All right, so that piece is looking good there. And then we're just going to pull this line right along that right along the T-square. There we go. Now we're evened up. We just want to get that line started, just so it has a kind of a trench to ride, and then we'll go back through, take the T-square away, obviously, and we'll finish that line off and get it nice and deep. Just like that. There we go. And then we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Going to ever so skillfully balance this piece up against the T-square here. And jujitsu our hands into the right holding position, which is an art form in and of itself, guys. Go and pull that line. Okay. Now we're going to deepen this side up. Okay. All right. So now that horizontal panel line is looking good. All right. So now what we have to do, we need to go back and grab our little scribing jig one last time. We're going to use this. We're going to get that that notch scribed in here, and then once that's done, we'll chat with the with you guys over there on the chat. Never Troll, thank you, brother. Thank you for the $1 donation. He says you're the Bob Ross of this madness. Tip of a hat to you, sir. Thank you for that. That's it's quite the compliment because I'm a big Bob Ross fan. So I don't make happy little trees, but man, he was the dude back in the day. So I appreciate that. That means a lot, actually. That's good stuff. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use our scribing jig that I really love using and making and all that. We're going to use that to our advantage here, and we're going to let the chisel, I should say, just ride along this thing here. And we're going to pull this this notch here, this latch notch. Okay. Now the big thing, obviously, is to get a matching width to the piece that we've already created. That's obviously, for this particular piece, going to be very important because they need to match. They need to be symmetrical. So to do that, we just hold them up to one another. And on the inside, I'm seeing that we're nice and even, but I need to go a little longer on the outside of this particular vent piece. So we're just going to extend that notch just a hair. Let's see if that got us into the right ballpark. Clear out the debris. And that is almost there. Just a little more to go. A little bit more. What was that? Thank you, Never Troll. Thank you for the 5 bits. Appreciate that, man. You're on a donating spree. I love it. Thank you, sir. Okay. Clear out the debris. All right, let's match this up one last time. Make sure we've got even notches here, and that looks pretty damn good. Now all we got to do is just even out the bottom of this particular notch. Get it nice and flat. Super Toki, thank you for the subscribe there on YouTube. Welcome to the family. Appreciate that. That's awesome. All right. Looking good, people. All right. So now that looks like a matching set. But we're not done just yet. We've got one final step before we can call this particular part done. But before we do that, let's get caught up in the chat because you guys are kind of going crazy over here, especially on YouTube and Twitch, man. You guys are kind of going crazy back and forth here. Let's see what we missed. So much. So much. Let's see. Adam from USA Gundam Story says, I learned so much watching these streams. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Keep coming back because we're going to keep doing them. You keep learning more. Bro Builder says, I agree with the half-round rifle. I find that... Oh, file. Sorry. I saw rifle, but it was file. I find that shape offers more support and stops any deflection. Absolutely. That's why I like using it to even out flat surfaces like that. Bailey says, that's an interesting choice. I tend to avoid my half rounds even though they offer that flat side like my equaling files. Yeah, you know, it's really just kind of grip preference, really. I find that, at least in the set that I have, now this may be different from what you guys have, but at least in the sets that I have, the half round, it seems to be flatter and it has a little bit more tooth to it than my normal just straight flat file. And let's be honest, I've abused that flat file for a many number of years, so it's no longer very happy with me. So I think that it tends to act out against me sometimes and not do what I tell it to do. It's my theory anyway. So yeah, for me to get a really nice straight, kind of evened up surface, that's why I kind of go to that half round. So that's just me. Bailey says, makes sense though, since your finger is applying pressure at the top of the round, which then distributes that pressure evenly onto the flat side. That's a very good point. I had never really thought of that, but yeah, that's actually, you know, probably very, very accurate in terms of the mechanics of what's going on. Jay Lynch, Any tips when two cemented parts have a gap between them? When I sand my parts, that tends to happen. It depends. You could fill it with a material. Tamiya white putty I really like because it is solvent based, so it bites into the plastic a little bit, but it is somewhat brittle. The density is different from normal plastics, so you do have to be a little bit careful, especially if you're scribing over that or something like that, because your scriber will just dip right into that cured putty more than the plastic, so you need to be careful with that. Another thing that you can do, what I really love doing, is filling small gaps with super glue. Let me show you something real quick, what I did here on the box mag. On the back side, and let me get you super zoomed into this so you guys can really see what I'm talking about here. Boom, there we go. Okay, so right there. So what I did was I drilled holes into the original mag, and basically these are 2mm rods that I drilled into that, matched those holes up and everything. The other side of this matched up perfectly. It fit wonderfully. This side, however, I had a bit of an issue with this. My drilled out hole was a bit too high, so I had to cut down to have this part, match up to it perfectly. So I had this big nasty gap here. Now, this is the backside that butts up to the finger guard, and there's not a ton of clearance there, so I couldn't just plate over that, unfortunately. So I had to come up with another method. So what I did was I filled this kind of gap in here with super glue, and also kind of sprinkled baby powder in there. The cornstarch in the baby powder reacts with the super glue to make a nice, kind of a nice filler, if you will. So that's a very, very old school trick. Guys have been doing that for decades. But what you'll find is super glue is, or at least the super glue that I use, the Loctite Ultra Control, has the very, very similar density to polystyrene once it's fully cured, which I really love. That's one of the reasons why I love using it. Another reason is that it just makes a great filler. If you're laminating two pieces of plastic together or something like that, I always use super glue rather than solvent style glue, simply because once it oozes out the side, you've got a nice filler automatically. So what you could do, if it's a smallish gap there, you could fill it with super glue. Let it sit overnight, give it some time to cure more than what's necessary, and then just come back and either kind of shave that with, even it up with the surface of your piece with a hobby knife, a really sharp blade, or file it down, sand it down, what have you. Man, and those things will disappear, right? Now, since the super glue is transparent, it'll still look like it's there, but do the fingernail test, it'll be smooth as butter. Trust me. So, great question, Jay. There we go. And look at this. This is perfect right here. Look at this answer. Bailey says CA glue or Tamiya basic putty thin with lacquer thinner is what I would use. And I just said that. So, hey, great minds think alike, right? Jay Lynch says, I've been using extra thin cement lately. Now is in rare occasions it happens. It does. Sometimes the extra thin, sometimes it bubbles, or the pieces start to pull apart, which then causes the capillary action to pull that liquid down away from the furthest gap. So that does happen. You just have to be careful with that. So it's one of those things. It happens to me too. Happens to all of us. So Never Troll, why don't the factory make it pre-made like that? Well, that's the kind of the fun of modeling, man. We have these kind of blank canvases to go crazy and customize it the way that we want. You know, it's just the fun of it, you know? Making something that has never necessarily been made to that level before or to those specifications. Man, and that's just fun. Saying that you have a one of a kind in the world, there's just no feeling like it. So, good question. Adam USA Gundam Store, he says, the scribing jig, is it a shaped, an L-shaped plot plate strip, or did you make it? No, I made it. I make a ton of scribing jigs, and this is why you need to watch the stream more, Adam, because we've covered this plenty of times. So I'll show you here in a second. Let's get out of super zoom so I can show Adam what I'm talking about in terms of scribing jigs. So what you saw here, these are just two pieces of styrene sheet, just glued together in an L shape. So that just hangs off, you know, the edge here. Here's another one that I made. Here is a shaped scribing jig. This helped form the panel line in this piece right here. If the damn camera would focus, there we go. And so that's what I mean by scribing jig. This one is formed in a T shape, so it can go on both sides. So matches up there, and then you flip it around, matches up on that side. So scribing jigs and jigs in general are a very common type of tool or aid in like woodworking. Here's a level scribing jig for making perimeter scribes around, or like a round piece or something like that. You pop your minus mold or something like that, and then you hold this vertically and scribe just kind of around this to get that line there in a circular piece. So yeah, jigs in general are very popular in woodworking. I've used them for years, and they aid in scribing. They aid in forming parts, gluing up parts, and getting the positioning, you know, perfectly symmetrical or mirrored from another piece. They just have many, many uses. Scratch building as well. This is a kind of a big boy grit jig that I made here. I needed a perfect 68-degree angle to glue up the sides of the Blue Destiny's shield that I scratch built. So I needed a jig to glue up the sides perfectly so that they could retain that 68-degree angle, so they would match kind of the angles of the original shield and mimic that look. So yeah, man, jigs are where it's at, dude. Gotta make them to really appreciate them. So yes, sir. Kyle said over on YouTube, he says, got my BMC chisels and handles today. Awesome, dude. Dymo tape on the way. Can't wait to try them out. That'll be cool, man. Take your time. Those things, especially the thinner ones, are very, very fragile. So be super careful with them the first few times until you really kind of get that feel, because it's going to be weird the first couple times that that you use them. You're not going to be used to kind of the act of scribing, and make sure that you don't push. Make sure you pull. You want a scraping action. So that's awesome, man. Good to hear that. Bailey says that's what's up. What sizes did you get? Also practice. Man, I'm sitting here and Bailey's just kind of beating me to the punch here, man. You're stealing my thunder, dude. Killing me right now. But no, that's cool. I appreciate that, B. Sorvon Zero says that one looked made, not an L channel. No, yeah, all my jigs that I create are 100% scratch built. You can use an L channel, but the formation, the molding process, or the extrusion process, I should say more correctly, isn't always perfect, you know, perfectly square and all that. So you need to keep that in mind. Let's see. Keep it going. GamerBud, I made a bunch of happy little mistakes today. Nice. Yeah. Sorvon, definitely. I do have tools to make sure that they're 100% square, but when using like a scribing jig, it's really inconsequential because it's just you're using it as a guide, so you're not necessarily needing it to be at a perfect 90-degree angle. You want to get it close. Obviously, you're eyeballing it, but it doesn't absolutely have to be perfect. But if you do need it to be perfect, well, then that's where something like these guys come into play. These are machinist blocks or 1, 2, 3 blocks. What is it? 1 inch, 2 inches, and then 3 inches, 3 inches long. So these are great. These are you can get these on Amazon for like $5, $6. I think I have links to these in the Amazon link in the description. So these are super useful. What I find really, really useful too is to use little magnets on them, little neodymium magnets, and that way you can hold a piece of plastic right here. The magnets will hold them, and then you can just kind of glue that at a 90-degree angle or whatever angle that you need it to be, and then it works really, really well. So very useful in scratch building and gluing and all that good stuff. So 1, 2, 3 blocks. Go pick some up. Let's see. Kyle got the 0.15 and the 0.3. Good choices. Good choices. Good starting choices. Very, very nice. Adam says, looks so useful. Need to make some. Yeah, dude. Make them up. Build them. Build them up. Let's see. Jay Lynch, chisels are one of the best investments you can do. I purchased a set for $46, a 0.15, 0.3, 1 millimeter, and a 1.5. They're Chinese, but they work quite well. Yeah, man, if they're ground properly, meaning, the angle is ground, yeah, man, those will get you in good shape. And then if you really, really dig them, man, graduate to like a BMC or a MadWorks or something like that. Both will, give you great results. Kyle says that he took note that I was using those 2 sizes a lot. I do. Those are probably my 2 favorite sizes of chisels, the 0.15 and the 0.3. That's usually, that's obviously the 0.15 is my choice to make panel lines, but then 0.3 is what I predominantly use for notches and things of that nature. So definitely that's a good pickup there. So happy for you, Kyle. Enjoy using those. Adam says, yeah, need to get on these more. Yeah, you dude. Jay Lynch says, taking notes. Awesome. Adam says, that's awesome. I always just use Dymo. Yeah, and that's what most people start out with. A lot of people I don't see are using like scribing jigs and things of that nature, which is surprising to me because they're super useful and you get smooth, even lines, no matter what. And they're consistent because you can reuse that jig. You keep it, because I've got a box of them sitting over here behind me, and you can use it anytime. So, yeah, it's good stuff, man. Andrew says, you should sell your jigs to me. I'm too lazy to make. Well, I'm sorry, man. If you're too lazy to make them, then you're probably too lazy to use them, too. Jeez. Ken Sim says, hey, chat, Tim, DIY scribing templates, always using if you needed to reuse them. Yeah, scribing templates are really good. I personally don't find myself using them all that much, which doesn't mean that you may not use them a whole hell of a lot, but just under my personal preference, I really don't use them too much. I have some, but I don't know, just none of the shapes and things of that nature just really appeal to me all that much. I kind of customize the shape of the box scribe or what have you to the shape of the piece that I'm scribing on. So a lot of the times those scribing templates don't necessarily match what I need. So it does take a little bit of customization. But hey, again, it's all user preference. If that's what you enjoy using, man, then if that works, then absolutely freaking use that thing. So good stuff there. Andrew Young says, boy, I hear you tell me scrape and then others go push. Oh, for scribing. No. Yeah, the scraping methodology is normal. That's 95% of the time what the technique should be in terms of scribing, is scraping along that that surface. So very rarely are you ever going to need to, you know, push into the plastic with your chisel. So keep that in mind. With larger width chisels, I should make an addendum to that statement. With larger width chisels, 1 millimeter and up, you could use those for shaping, sculpting, things of that nature. Then, you know, the percentages do change in terms of scraping and pushing. So it depends. But on thinner widths, like, you know, panel lines, small notches and things, most of the times you're going to be scraping. So, Roomblade 265, Mr. Timmy Gian over there. Hope I'm saying that right, Timmy. As you know, I'm very bad at pronunciation, so I hope I'm saying that right. All due respect. But he's over there on Twitch. Thank you for tuning in, brother. Appreciate that. Follow Runeblade265 on Instagram. It's a good follow, well deserved. I believe Timmy has placed, I think, several times in a local leg of GBWC here in the States, if I'm not mistaken. But he does good work anyways, even if he hasn't. So go follow him. It's good stuff. George Jackson, what size of plot plate should I buy if I don't have those scribers? What can I use instead? Not seeing the connection between the two, but in terms of plot plate or styrene sheet, which I like the term. It depends, because, you know, you have multiple thicknesses. It usually goes from, you know, 0.25, 0.3 millimeters thick, depending on the brand. 0.5 is another common thickness, and then 1 millimeter obviously is going to be for heavy details, structural building, things of that nature. So for details, I try to shy away from the 1 mil unless I'm going for that kind of heavy reinforced armor look. But for surface details, things of that nature, then I stick with the two thinner ones, and I'll usually use the 0.5 millimeter the most. So that's what I would definitely suggest in terms of picking up, you know, plastic sheet. And also plastic strips, evergreen plastics. You guys have seen me use that a ton. I absolutely adore their selection of styrene strips and other extruded shapes, rods, tubes, half round, L shapes. They make beams. They make T-shaped beams, all sorts of different shapes. You can check out their website, evergreenplastics.com, I believe is the URL. And you can buy from them directly. They make bulk packs too, which are really, really affordable as well. So go and peruse and go crazy on them. I love evergreen plastics. So that's what I would suggest. And look, there's Bailey again with the answer that I just said right after it. So Bailey, man, we're like right here, buddy. That's awesome, dude. Let's keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going. Keep going. Ah, thank you, Timmy. Win. Thank you. I see, and that's the thing. I have encountered, you know, people with the same last name that pronounce it differently. Gian, win, different pronunciations. So, pasty white dude, what can I say? I don't know how to pronounce these things. Andrew Young says, no one tells you about jigs. Well, I've been telling you about it for like, what, 12 streams now? Come on, man, get with the program. Bailey says, you can scribe with the back of your hobby knife, but it's not very good. This is true. You can also make a scriber out of a sewing needle, but it creates a V-shaped mark. That is true as well. You know, when you're just starting out, when you don't necessarily, when you're not ready, I should say, to invest in expensive chisels and things of that nature, yes, using the back of a dull, you know, old, you know, X-Acto blade or hobby knife blade, what have you, is a good starting out point to kind of test your skill set. Maybe, you know, dip your foot in the water, if you will. So that's kind of where I started, and then, you know, I just kind of liked it, and, you know, that's kind of when I got invested, you know, in the BMC kind of ecosphere, if you will. I don't know. And Timmy says, and thanks for the shout out. I've only entered local GBWC and won once, but hey, you're still a GBWC winner. That's still very important, man. I've won some other local competitions though. Yeah, still a good follow. Go follow him on Instagram, guys. God, evergreen plastic strips are God. Andrew, quit sniffing the paint, man. Seriously. Ay, ay, ay. Bailey says, I just ordered a pack of the Wave Gray plow plate with the millimeter measurements on it from Hobby Search. They only had 0.3 in stock. I want all of them now. I know, right? Those seem to be very useful looking. You know, if I didn't have like a rack of styrene sheet like I do, I might be half tempted to pick up some of those myself, because when you need to be very accurate with building like a structure, scratch building, things of that nature, I can see where those measurements on the plastic itself would come in very, very handy. So good stuff. Good stuff. All right. We are caught up. Let's get back over to the bench. Let's finish up that one last step on this thing, and then we're going to finish it off, sand it up, call it a finished piece, and then we'll move on to something else. Time check. 11:38. Damn, we've been at this thing for already almost an hour and 40 minutes. Ooh, cool. We'll keep going. Do a little bit more brainstorming after this on the chest piece, and I'll show you kind of how these look here in a moment. But with this little piece here, the one last little kind of finishing technique that I like to use is to slightly bevel this edge here, because these are right now very sharp corners around the top perimeter of this piece of styrene. Stylistically, that doesn't necessarily match the overall aesthetic, simply because you got these corner bevels here, just all over the place. So what your eye would expect is kind of that same theme, right? So what we're going to do is we're just going to slightly, very slightly, bevel these surfaces. Oh, look at that. Angel's there on YouTube. Angel Dela Cruz, former GBWC US champion, and one of my good friends, one of those Gundam guys. Just a real quick shout out, because I know since he's watching. SCGMC, Southern California Gundam Modeling Competition, is going on in November. I think it's the first weekend in November. Correct me if I'm wrong, Angel. Or correct me if I'm wrong. But man, it's such a good time. It is the U.S., the largest, really largest Gunpla competition in the U.S. right now, bigger than GBWC. Every year they have hundreds of model entries into the various categories. November 10th. Thank you, Angel. Appreciate that, buddy. So it's November 10th this year in California. So you gotta go there. It's not online. This is in person, so you need to come out of the house. But man, it's such an awesome time. There are so many talented modelers that come from all over the place. Canada, all parts of the U.S., Mexico, all over the place. And they, there's multiple GBWC past champions there, people that have placed very highly in, different GBWC competitions and other sorts of competitions. And wow, you talk about a fun time, man. They have vendors out the wazoo. They have panels. They have kind of instructional demos and things of that nature. And it's just put on by such an amazing group of people. It's a homegrown, dare I say, convention at this point. I know some of the Gundam guys are hesitant in calling it a convention, but I've always called it a convention because it's that size. And every year they just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. This is the 8th year of the Southern California Gundam modeling competition. I'm hoping I can get out there, man. It's expensive coming from the east to the west coast, and getting a hotel, getting a rental car, getting all that stuff, man. It's very expensive. But if you are in the area or in the position to be able to afford getting out there, I highly recommend it. It is amazing. They have door prizes and raffles and all sorts of stuff. You can pick the brains of some amazing modelers. It's a super fun time. So if you're interested in this, check out Those Gundam Guys on Facebook, and you'll find out all the information that you need to know on their page. And definitely follow them, subscribe, like on Facebook and all that good stuff. And it's worth it. It's worth it. They made a few funny videos here just recently that were pretty good. Pretty good. A couple jabs here and there at certain places, but yeah, very good stuff. Very good follow too. So definitely hit that up. Let's see. Timmy says, Those Gundam Guys actually came to a local con last year here in Texas. I'm thinking about flying out to attend SCGMC. Dude, that would be awesome, man. Yeah, Those Gundam Guys, man, they go all over the place. They roll deep in places. They go to Las Vegas. They go to Arizona, obviously Texas, all sorts of places, man. They take some trips. Super jealous of that because, man, they have a lot of fun with that too. So, I don't know, man. If I ever win the lottery, man, I'm moving out to Southern Cal and we're going to do it upright. So good stuff there. Yes, definitely attend SCGMC if you have the opportunity, man. It's such a great time. Hopefully I can get out there this year because I haven't been out for the past few years. Just money hasn't been working out my way when it comes to getting out there. So what are you going to do? Oh, and they're going to be out in Phoenix next weekend. I saw something about that. I forget where. I think Tex Marquise I think she posted something about that on Instagram, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong though. But looks like Juan Ferreira is with us. Thank you for watching, Juan. Appreciate it. Welcome. Enrico is popped in from over there on YouTube. Welcome, Enrico. Thanks for watching, buddy. And let's see, Sabaton. Oh, Sabaton Con. Okay, yeah. Very cool. Enrico says, Bailey, HLJ doesn't carry the 0.5 of those anymore. Don't know why. 1.0, 1 millimeter and 0.3 only. Man, check out Hobby Search. Hobby Search is the best. HLJ sucks when it comes to tool selection. Hobby Search, just far and away better. So check out Hobby Search. It's the good one. Cuckoo305-S has joined us over there on Twitch. Welcome. Thank you for watching. Let's finish this piece out. Like I said before, what we're going to do is we're going to slightly bevel this just with our hobby knife. And we're just going to kind of scrape. Oh, that's the wrong piece. Whoopsie. We're going to scrape this these edges down just a bit to make them a little bit more aesthetically similar. And I'm just kind of freehanding this bevel here. And we're not going to go super heavy. We're just going to kind of, just shave off that corner just a little bit. We're going to go around all the sides, even these little corner bevels. And we're just going to knock that edge off just a bit. And this is where a sharp hobby knife, or hobby blade, I should say, comes in very, very handy, because that'll make short work of this, and you'll get nice, even little bevels here. Okay, last corner bevel. Right there. All right. Final step is to give it a good surface sanding. And all we're going to do is we're just going to just kind of pop that right across the sanding block here, just to get that nice and smooth. And then we're going to take our old toothbrush here, just knock out the dust and debris and that is now built up in that panel line. And there we go. 2 matching vents. Let's get super zoomed in so you can see. Get our box going, and 5x. There we go. Let's get these centered here for you on screen. So there you go. 2 perfectly matched armored vent covers. So it was easy, took a little time, and precision is key, but not really hard to do. Let's get out of super zoom here. Pull back 1x, get rid of that box, get back over to the stream. Here we go. All right. Good shit. All right, let's mock this up actually on the chest. Let me show you kind of what this looks like here. So we're just going to pop these right on to those parts there in the chest. We're going to get the 2 front chest armor pieces popped on here. And then I'll show you kind of what this looks like. Get that on there. It's not on there correctly. Something's weird. Okay. Ah, there we go. Wasn't lined up right. All right. So there's what it looks like now that it's all together. So you can kind of see how these vents now definitely look a little bit more armored up, and that's kind of what I was going for. And what I did a little bit earlier was, if you guys remember, I drew out these panel lines here. Well, this I actually scribed. This is now scribed in, this border scribe around the vent area. So let's see if we can get this in the light. So you can see that all the way around. And that will be a nice little contrasting color from the rest of it. So that'll make this area really pop out, and it'll draw your eye into it and look really, really super nice. So I am very, very happy with the result of this, and I think this is going to look kick-ass. So there we go. Yeah! All right. Let's see. Let's talk, shall we? We got like 10 minutes left. Let's talk. Let's catch up. What are we doing? What's going on? Ron Art, yeah. Ron Art over on Facebook. He says, for peeps watching through Facebook, sometimes the parts you're working on is being covered by the block on the lower right corner. That's actually for everybody, man. So sorry about that. I try my best. It's hard knowing where in this space, you know, I am at any given point. What I think I might want to do is maybe outline, zoom in and then draw an outline on here so I know where the camera borders are. So I think I might do that. Sorry about that, Ron. But hopefully we bring it back in and you can see the finished product at very least. So thanks for that, buddy. All right, so let's see. Let's catch up, man, because you guys are talking crazy up in here. Let's see. There goes Bailey, man. Yeah, same answer. Hobby Search seems to stock it, but we'll see. Sometimes they never get stuff back in. They're usually really good with getting BMC chisel restocks pretty consistently. So if that's what you're talking about, which I think, or maybe it's the styrene sheet, they are usually really good with keeping up on stocks of tools, materials, things of that nature. So yeah, definitely Hobby Search, man. Keep looking. Let's see. Looks like Burkana says he's ordering some tools and various supplies soon, and if you're looking for BMC, he has them for $25 shipped. That's a hell of a good price. Hell of a good price. So check him out. It's a Gundam Sales on Facebook. Burkana Tier on Facebook. H. Schultz over there on YouTube. So check him out. Very good person to work with. I've ordered from him several times, and I've been happy every single time. So it's good stuff. Gamerbud, sadly here in Wisconsin, there is not anything for competitions or even builder groups on Facebook. Crappy state to be a builder. Not even any local stores that sell kits within 60 to 100 miles. Well, yeah, that's tough, man. Sometimes, and I've experienced this myself, is that, oh, you know what, let's get over to one camera because I like talking to you guys like this rather than through, you know, the little window here. You know, being, I guess, on an island by yourself, so to speak, it's tough sometimes, especially when you're in such a niche hobby like we are, at least here in the States. Obviously, in different countries, it's going to be different. You know, some have massive followings, especially, you know, in places in Asian countries. Australia seems very big. I might be wrong, I don't know. But just from the look of it, outside looking in, it seems very, very popular and big there. But here in the States, yeah, it's still very, very niche. And, you know, for a long, long time, I was kind of, you know, on a one-man island, you know, by myself too. You know, back in the early to mid 2000s, man, there was nobody around here. And I live in Maryland. Nobody around here, no competitions, nothing. So I completely relate to that. I've experienced that before. Give it time. And, you know, keep looking, especially groups on Facebook, because they'll pop up out of nowhere in a moment's notice. Hell, I mean, you could create a Facebook group for Wisconsin. It seems a lot more of the individual states are creating or have, you know, localized groups. I saw a group from Minnesota here just today going through some of the groups, and you know, they had probably a good, I think it was like 75 to 100 members at this point, and Minnesota is not that of a populated state, so having that number was actually pretty decent, all things considered. You know, and people very, very spread out too. So man, just keep plugging at it. Create the group, create the following. You know, like Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. So start it up. You never know. Never know. Enrico Asanohashi. Oh, cool. Thanks, Bailey and that Child of Mecha. Never ordered from them, but I'm definitely going to have to take a look. Dude, yeah, Hobby Search, in my opinion, is so much better in all ways than Hobby Link Japan, other than Hobby Link's warehousing feature. The only plus side that they have over Hobby Search. Everything else is just amazing. Bailey says, I'm a long-time HLJ customer, like 15 years, but only recently started to see Hobby Search. They've been around as long, but only used to use it for reference. Yeah, Hobby Search has been around for a while, probably not as long as HLJ. I know back in the early to mid 2000s, I don't think they were around then. I think they might have started up, at least their online side of their business, maybe 2005, 2007-ish time frame. I could be completely wrong, but that's, just what I have kind of ascertained. But yeah, I mean, amazing, amazing company, fast shipping, inexpensive shipping. They package everything really, really nicely. So, I mean, if you can't get it from kind of local or domestic vendors, man, yeah, Hobby Search is the way to go. So, obviously, you're going to pay more in shipping since it's in Japan, but, you have to weigh availability with price. So sometimes you got to bite the bullet and just order from the motherland, so to speak, right? So let's keep going down. Whoa, lots of stuff to get caught up in. Holy shit. Wow. Okay. Roomblade signing off. Adam, USA Gundam Store, is signing off as well. Good night, guys. I'm sure you guys are gone already, but hey, if you guys are watching the end of this, maybe later on, still said good night to both of you. Let's see. Bergana says, LOL, I used to do that. Now, product moving so much, I got to order a lot. Yeah, he does order a lot. Enrico says, thing is, I always have to carefully plan my orders. Ah, yeah, Enrico's in Uruguay. I forgot about that. So they have that very strict online shipping rules. They have to use courier services and things to kind of collect and have everything shipped at one time. Man, it's tough, man. Those online rules are very, very tough there in some South American countries. Don't know why. It's weird. Anyway, Bailey says, looks like a Robo E.T. or that old robot companion movie from the 80s. Oh, the chest. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Or that, like, that old little robot figure thing that you used to get with the old Nintendo Entertainment Systems, like the OG NES. Most of you guys won't remember that, but I did. That came out when I was a kid, so. The memories. Bergana says, that could be very complex. Well, if you want some help getting something out of order, yeah, definitely private message him on Facebook. Definitely. Andrew Young says, so after you're done with the Jesta, can I have it? No. Come on, man. Let's see. Speaking of which, did you use any of the care package I sent you a while ago? Oh, yeah, dude. I've got some of the stuff that I've used, and shit, I can't remember what I've used and what I've not used. I definitely tested the chrome marker. That's pretty interesting, but I think that's going to be situational for me. So it'll be tough. So Mikel Maverick 176 says, in December 2010, Hobby Search had a huge sale on BMC chisels. I spent about $110 on chisels. Good pickup for $110, getting a bunch of them. Good stuff. Let's see. Bailey says, found it. Short Circuit. Oh shit. The Jesta looks like the robot from Short Circuit, Johnny 5. Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. So, man, oh man. Berkana says, I love those movies. Oh man, Mikhail, you're killing me, man. He says, Tim, you live in the woods. And actually, no, I don't. I live in a nice little suburban area here, just 40 minutes outside of Baltimore. So it's definitely not the woods. So it's a good place to grow up. Let's put it that way. A Schultz says, in, I guess, response to GamerBud earlier, give it time. There are a lot of us trying to get suppliers and stores and events all over. Hopefully soon I'll have a mobile soup Gunpla truck going. Nice. Just a roaming Gunpla truck, just with Mecha models on it and stuff, like one of those food trucks and stuff. Nice. Let's see. Oh, Roomblay. Just saying goodnight to Adam. Sorry, buddy. Let's see. Andrew Young says, Tim, you an old-ass man. Yeah, well, shit happens. Angels De La Cruz, Rob the Robot. Yeah, I guess that's the one from the OG NES. Nice. Andrew, you do not have my address, motherfucker. You do not. Never gave it to you. Burkana says, yeah, that is very situational. Good for touch-ups and small one-item shoots. Yeah, you know, we're talking about the Molotov chrome marker. I'm sure you guys have seen these. They've been all over the place, you know, in the past and everything like that. So, very legit. I mean, nice chrome that it you know puts out and everything. High polish, the whole 9 yards. So, yeah. So it's a good thing, but yeah, very situational, very, very situational. I wouldn't necessarily put it, I wouldn't, you know, paint a whole model in chrome. That would be weird, right? So, Jay Lynch, what happens with the shipment in that stores sell at a higher price versus internet purchase are way cheaper, even with the courier shipment? Oh, I guess he's talking to Enrico. Okay, cool. Man, Maverick, Mikhail, the woods, man. Not in the woods, dude. Not. Telling you. Not in the woods. Jalen, so government, what to do is to please private, to please private stores. Yeah, they set the laws for outside the country. So, yeah, they're playing economics and trying to get folks to buy from local stores rather than online retailers. So I get it. Still kind of shitty though. You know what I mean? So, oh yeah, I did ship that part to you, Andrew. So yeah. Oh well. Come to my house, man. See what happens. Get some. Oh motherfucker. Love that kid, but still, he's a pain in my ass. Think I'd be borderline stalker if I kept that package wrapping. Yeah, you really would be. You really would be. Straight up stalker. Jalen says, here in Dominican Republic, dude, I didn't know you were from DR. Purchases higher than $200 charge a ridiculous amount of money, especially if it's electronic device, depending what it is, 20, 30% the price. Damn, dude, no way. That's rough, man. I thought the UK duties and stuff like that were nuts, but 20 to 30% the price. Ouch. Timmy says, where did you get the wire rack from behind you? Oh, this one right here? Yeah, that is basically it's a food service rack. Let's see, my ex-stepfather used to work in the restaurant industry, and he had that from he got that from like a restaurant that closed down, and I just kind of inherited it. And yeah, so you can get these actually pretty cheap. They're not as sturdy as these that are, you know, for food service, but you can get these same things at like Home Depot, Lowe's, and things like that. Roughly the same size, not necessarily the same thickness in the metal that they use, the wires and stuff like that. But still, you know, completely useful for storing models and stuff like that. And these things are like 6 feet, 6 feet tall, and then you can get extensions to add on top of them to make them even taller if need be, right? So, yeah, I love that thing. Had it for years. Decades even. Let's see. Enrico says, yeah, that's exactly what they do here. 200 USD is the limit, and the shipping inside the US counts. Sheesh, that's crazy. Have a limit of 3 purchases per year. Man, that's rough, dude. per credit card, not per person. Oh, well then you can still get around that. Just have multiple credit cards, right? So that's not as bad. I thought it was per person, but damn. Let's see, what else? Bracana says, I mean, shipping from the Philippines like Malaysia is also absolutely insane. I mean, yeah, when it's coming from the other side of the world, it's gonna be crazy, right? Ron Art over there on Facebook says, have a nice day, you all. See you all tomorrow. Have to pick up my kid in school. Thank you, Ron, for tuning in. I appreciate it, brother. As always. As always. Andrew Young says, I see 2 Suzabi Verkaz in the back. Sad they'll stay there forever. You never know. I got those, both of those Suzabis basically for the price of one. Actually, less than the price of one. I spent $52 a piece on both of those Suzabis on this crazy, crazy sale on Amazon. It was like one of those flash sales, like, you know, that was only like up for maybe 30 minutes or so. I just happened to see them, and I picked up both of those Suzabi Verkaz. So $104 for both of them. So it's about the price that you'd pay for one. Good pickup in my book. Bailey says, I didn't have that much trouble where I'm from in U.S. Virgin Islands, but I did have to order everything from the States and Japan. Fair enough, yeah. Very cool. Japan's not that bad. UK also. China now with this trade war has gotten bad too. Yeah, trade war. Fun, right? Man, you need to let me know ASAP for those sales. Dude, this was back before you were even a glint in my eye. Get out of here. You know what? You need to keep out for them. You need to keep a watch for them sales yourself, there, Andrew. I can't help you with that shit, motherfucker. Little asshole. Oh, he's a pain in my ass, people. All right, Mav. All right, going to bed, heading to Jersey to work site. Damn. Well, good luck with that, brother. Drive safe. All right. Thank you for watching, Mikkel. Appreciate it, buddy. Jay Lynch, yeah, still tough for you guys. Absolutely. So, all right, boys. It is 12:08 on the dot. Everybody needs to go to bed. Unless you're in like Australia or some other part of the world that it's maybe not. Maybe it's the morning. Then maybe you need to get your ass up, go to work. So, I'm going to call it a night. So, nothing but love from here. Thank you, Mikkel. Appreciate that, buddy. Appreciate that. Hopefully we'll see you, hopefully, you know, I don't know if we're going to get up to the anime thing, but hopefully we'll see you sometime soon. So, good night, man. All right, boys. Man, it's been awesome. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for watching. We've had a bunch of people in stream. Thank you for commenting and conversating and conversing, or whatever the English terminology is for that, because I don't speak no good damn English. So we'll catch you on Friday. We're going to finish out the week strong. We're going to continue working on this Jester. We're going to pick back up on this. I might get some stuff done between now and then, show you what we did. But we'll definitely continue working on this puppy and make it beautiful. All right. So with that being said, thank you for watching Child of Mecha live stream. I am Tim, the one and only Child of Mecha. Go get your Mecha shirts from Child of Mecha store. Donate to the Gumplet Talk, or the Gumplet Talk fundraiser. Win a big honkin' perfect grade model, and hit that Amazon link underneath for all your inspirational book and tool needs. With that being said, we'll see you on Friday. Good night, everybody.